All right, everybody. This is not deja vu, I promise. We are coming back. I'm here again. Corey Dickman, Rip City Roundtable Podcast, here with the Dr. Aaron Brown. And you might be thinking, I just heard these guys like yesterday. What the heck is going on? Aaron and I, we said after last night's win against the Timberwolves for the Blazers to start the NBA Cup off 1-0 in group play, we had to come back. We had to come back and do an emergency pod. Aaron called it an emergency podcast.
It's right. This is an emergency pod because the Blazers are on fire. We had to break it down. Oh my gosh! I mean, what a game! I just there's so much to talk about. Let's get to it.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you can't really see it because the screen's kind of cut off here. I got it behind us, some highlights. You can see the bottom right of the court, so not a lot that you can notice there. But, Blazers win 122-108 against a Minnesota team that, has been struggling compared to expectations, right? They're now 6-5 on the season. They did have a big trade, right? Karl-Anthony Towns out, Julius Randle, and to Dante DiVincenzo in, and Cat, although it's Anthony Edwards' team, Aaron, but Cat was a huge part, Karl-Anthony Towns, and so you take that piece away, it's been slow going, but Minnesota was still favored to win this game. I think their line was 7.5 or might have been 8.5 to Minnesota as the road team going into to Moda, and the Blazers just said no. The Blazers said, Aaron, we are taking this upset right here to start the NBA Cup off 1-0. Were you shocked? I mean, okay, one, were you shocked? And two, we kind of called it on the last episode we did like 24 hours ago, right?
That's right. Yes, we had to come back and kind of toot our own horns, so to say, because we said, like, you got to give these guys the minutes, and look what happens when that happens. Now, Let's start with the negative. Obviously, losing Simons in the first 5 minutes. It's a mysterious injury. It's kind of worrisome. I've been checking online. I haven't seen any updates on that. So hoping and praying for the best for him.
Mm-hmm. And then I know he's not playing. He's not playing tonight. So as we're recording this, obviously this is the day after the first Minnesota game for the NBA Cup. Tonight we play the Timberwolves again. Tonight being Wednesday night here, November 13th. But Simon's ruled out tonight. Yeah. We'll see what.
And I wonder. I mean, we talked about yesterday the body language of Simons and how he was playing. His scoring was down. Maybe there was something there. We don't know. We won't know until we get more diagnosis. But maybe he's been having some pain in the chest, in the lungs. We don't know.
It would explain it, man. He went, in 5 minutes, right? So not much to really dive into, but he goes 1 for 2. He hit a nice little mid-range floater, but the one he missed was a kick out wide open 3 that, for my life, I would bet Simons hits that, and he clanked it yet again. And so again, this was like a minute before he left the game. So if he is dealing with something, that makes sense. But when he missed it, it ran in my brain. He just, something's off, man. Like, he normally would hit that shot, and he didn't. So maybe there is something wrong. But we hope he recovers well. We definitely don't want anything bad going on with Ant. Our Ant. Simons.
That's right. Our Ant.
Yeah, there's 2 ants. There were 2 ants in this game.
Now that was the one negative. Everything else is positive. So where do you want to start? Because there's so much. What was your number one takeaway? Like, where do we want to start?
Oh gosh, where do I want to start? So I think I want to start with, we'll talk about the minutes first, okay? Because we emphasized this on the podcast, 48 hours ago. We emphasized it, kind of saying, dude, Chauncey is playing like all these guys, like not even a lot of minutes. So they're just too spread out right now. Well, you go down this list, man. He had basically a 9-man rotation is what was going on. Once Simons got hurt, it became an 8-man rotation with a little bit of Ryan Rupert. But he goes, Kamara, 38 minutes. Grant, 39 minutes. Shaedon, 33 minutes. Like, that is incredible so far in the season. And then a nice spread between Avdija, 25, Rob Williams, which I'm sure we'll talk about here, 25 minutes. Delano Banton, who had to come in because Scoot played a great game, Aaron. 3 fouls in like 2.5 seconds, man. in a blink, Simons goes out and it enters Scoot and Aaron. I was like, oh, this is the lineup. This is what I want to see. This is what Klingon starting at center, Grant, Tamani, Sharpe, Scoot. Like, this is it. And then he gets 3 fouls. So
we said no more negatives. One more negative. Right. Scoot's fouls were bad. They were bad fouls. They were fouls. Like, there was no like
no, and he just shooting out the gate and he's ready to go in 3 fouls. So, but anyway, so because he got in foul trouble and then Simons got hurt, Delano, he had to come in. So he got 24 minutes and then Scoot had 21 minutes. That's like a playoff rotation. Not saying the players are playoff players or our team is a playoff team, but those are playoff minutes, Aaron, right? An 8-man rotation with repair.
They mentioned in the broadcast that the Minnesota, they're running an 8-man rotation every night, right? Like that they keep theirs a lot tighter, and they have one guy who played a couple minutes, their 9th guy, but like it's basically an 8-man rotation.
Well, that's kind of what they've chosen to do, right? I mean, they don't really have a deeper bench beyond that. Yeah.
But point is, like that's pretty common in the NBA, I think you saw it bore out. Like the one that stands out to me is Deni, like getting to that 25. You could tell like right around the 20 minutes mark is when he really started to pick it. Like he started running the floor harder. He was getting into the game more. Like towards the end of the game, they were going to him a lot because he had the energy. Like you can get into the flow of the game better. Yeah, his shot looked better. And
no,
we should caveat like we're probably not going to hit like 60% from 3 every night.
Well, don't worry about that. At one point, I think we were at like 67% in the third quarter, which was like crazy. Unreal. I will say, and I highlighted this in the analysis afterwards on Blazers Edge, but the threes, yes, that was an absurd percentage, but it felt like in the flow of the game, there weren't a lot of threes that we took that I was like, oh, gross. Like, oh, terrible shot. Like, it was like, oh, that's in the rhythm. Like, even Delano's threes, I think he started 4 for 4. He was on fire.
He did.
Even his threes kind of were his shots. And so, Aaron, it was the averages, man. Memphis, we were like 10% or whatever we were, or 1%.
I think it was 6%. Yeah.
6%. So, it has to balance out. So, but we were lighting it up. But man, I just forget like how smooth of a shot Shaedon Sharpe has. Like it is like, just his follow through and the arc on it. And he's so athletic. Like when he's on, 7 for 15, he goes 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. And, we had talked about Shaedon shooting 7% from the 3-point line. His percentage just went up, which is nice. But yeah, the 3 ball was definitely falling. And Tamani, man, 40% on the year. He goes 4 for 5 tonight. So his percentage at Tamani, man.
his were all of his, I think, were in rhythm, either like open or, swing passes, only barely contested, right? Like his shot looked really good. And man, he was making plays too off the dribble. Like he looked more comfortable last night than I've seen him all year, like making passes, swing passes.
Yep.
I think playing his former teammate, they highlighted that. I think he was kind of getting fired up for that game. They had him mic'd. It was kind of fun to just watch him just like really get into it.
Yeah, the dude doesn't crumble under pressure. Like, and I'm not saying this is game 7 of the NBA Finals, but like Tamani takes it and he goes, and just even his defense is just, he's everywhere, right? He's just, there was a play, they kind of missed it because they weren't expecting it, but he forced a turnover from Minnesota inbounding the ball under their own hoop, where it was just like, all of a sudden Blazer ball. I was like, what? And then like Tamani's just there. And I assume he did something. So, it's just like, he is spectacular. And I'm so glad he got 38 minutes. Like he's filling the stat sheet, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 14 points, 2 steals. I mean, and just being that guy picking up full court and all this stuff. So I was thrilled for Tamani. I was thrilled for Shaedon getting in there. But Aaron,
Shaedon's another guy, talk about needing those minutes. He started off slow. He missed a bunny on a fast break. He missed a couple of jumpers. And then like, as the minutes increased, he was getting in rhythm. He was taking it down the floor and making those lay-ins. He was taking those threes. He hit the 2 threes from that same spot. Like just, it it just works. Like you get in rhythm. That's how basketball's played.
He reminds me, and I know this is like blasphemy, not because of the disrespect, but because you and I because this player I'm about to mention was a Laker and we didn't like him growing up. But like he can get to spots like Kobe used to, where he kind of takes that one dribble and little fade away. Just that same form.
Well, the mid-range game,
the mid-range game is there, and Shaedon can sink that three. And so it just, when I watch him, I'm like, okay, obviously he hasn't had the start, that kind of Kobe came in with, but he has some of that game to him. I appreciate it. I was just glad he was able to stay on the floor and get some good run in. And he is above average defender too. Shaedon is. And I think in a game like this where, Anthony Edwards is going to be the sole focus, it's like you have to have, if your perimeter defense isn't good and can't stay in front of him, that guy will cook you. And I thought they did a really good job. Deni with the length, Tumani, and Shaedon just can provide a ton of like disruption, I think, for any team that has like a starting guard like Anthony Edwards. I think will make the night not easy for him, because he goes, oh my goodness, 8 of 19, 4 for 10 from the 3-point line. Like Edwards, still scored 26 points, but that's not a great percentage, and he had to work for those shots.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the defense was working last night, the length, getting steals, I think we won the turnover battle.
Yep.
Yeah, which was also key.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh,
yeah,
they played so well. I think I wasn't sure if you were going to bring it up, but I mean the next we can't go any longer without talking about Robert Williams.
Oh man, yeah, MVP.
It just hasn't. It's been so long since we've seen him play.
Yeah,
I just forgot. Like his touch is so good. Like they just lob it up, and he could, if he's not like gonna dunk it, he still can like just like twist in the air and put it in, and like it was amazing.
Yeah, the way he definitely contorts his body at the rim is something that is not normal, like in a good way.
Yeah,
you're just like, what? And you're like, is he gonna get that? That first alley-oop, and they threw it up to him. I was like, oh no, like, what are you doing? Like, that guy is gonna die. Like, Rob Williams is gonna fall and tears ACL or something. Like, but just boom, smooth. And I was like, okay. And then they kept throwing it to him, and he was just connecting on those lobs.
Yeah.
Oh
man, and he made that backdoor pass to Scoot. He was doing everything. I was like, who is this? Like, wait,
dude, you roll out like clinging, and then you have Rob backing him up. That defense, I mean, the defense tonight, I know we hit the 3-point shot, but the defense is what stood out to me, holding, Minnesota 108 points. And it was clinging, starting the game off, and then Rob just coming in and just owning it. Because, yeah, dude, I forgot he had that in him. Rob Williams. I mean,
it's fair to kind of forget. I mean, we haven't really seen him play since Boston. I mean, he hasn't done much since he's been here, and this is the real first run he's had. But like,
well, and there was people. I mean, even like Simmons on his podcast has mentioned, it's like the Brogdon trade he was fine with, right? They were kind of over Brogdon, but Williams was still one that kind of hurt. I think Boston knew they needed to move on, and he was always so injured with them. But that was a player that, when right, just made a huge difference for that Boston Celtics team.
Yes, correct.
And so it's like, man, Aaron, if we just want to just 1 second, just forget about tanking. It's like this team has some of the makings right now. If you could flip Simons and Ayton, who didn't play, for something else that I can't even think off the top of my head, probably another 4, somebody to help Grant out or something, and maybe like another knockdown shooter or something, that every championship team needs, or another wing, switchable wing. I don't know, Aaron. This team could go on a run. I don't want to say it, but it could. They could.
I don't want to get caught up in the moment of, this really great win, and you're absolutely right. I think there is something to be said, like getting rid of those 2 guys. Just, this is the young team that we want to see play, and with those guys there, we just won't see it. Like the minutes don't line up. It's what we've been talking about.
Yep.
So yeah, I think in that regard, I'm ready to move on. Now, do I think this this team that we saw tonight is going to show up every night like that. Probably not. There's going to be growing pains.
Sure.
But it was fun. It was fun.
First play of the game. Do you remember what it was? I said it. See if you read my analysis. Did you not read it?
That's my. I'm gonna go sleep with that tonight. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Well, I start off first play of the game. It was Minnesota gets the tip, right? Klingen's first start. First set play.
I do remember. Yeah.
Set play to Rudy. Gobert, just a nice little hook shot, blocked by Klingen. Yeah. I was jumping out of my seat 10 seconds into the game.
I remember that to now. Yes.
Oh, it was beautiful. I was like, this is the guy that we have wanted at this position. We don't need an Ayton. We don't need this. Ayton hits those mid-range shots. Ayton is an incredible player, number 1 overall pick. But we just need someone that does their job and it can be an elite defensive center. And then let the rest of our guys do their thing. That first play just wowed me. Klingen came in starting in these NBA Cup games, Aaron. These teams are trying. They're trying. This isn't just like another ho-hum regular season game. Like Minnesota cared. They want to win this thing. And for you to have a Rudy Gobert going up against a rookie center with their first start and have that happen, and really Klingen played very well. That's a ton of hope right there. Oh man, I love him. I love his demeanor.
I do too. I think it's going to be a great pick. I think he's going to be a Blazer for a while. So yeah. I'm very excited to see just how far along he is already. We're 12 games in. It's like 12 games. He looks like he's a comfortable center, and it's only going to get better. So I'm just so excited.
Okay, so this team comes out tonight. Okay, it's the same game, right? Minnesota. I don't know the injury report outside of Simons. I know Simons isn't playing. I don't know if Ayton's playing. If you're Chauncey, and by the time this podcast drops, the game will have already happened, right? So we're going to probably drop this tomorrow. But if you're Chauncey, do you just roll out this same unit and give him kind of the same minutes and see what happens?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know that he has much choice. I think maybe you see a little more Scoot and a little less Banton if there's
but I'm saying you could work in Jabari, you could work in Chris Murray, you could get Dewap Reith some run. You could go back to a 12-man rotation and kind of mismatch, or do you just see, well, let's do one more game with these guys, like almost treat it like a playoff series where you're playing Minnesota again. So it's like, what adjustments can you make just to see if they can make them? And then,
I mean, I would like to see that. I don't know. I think. My guess is that he would if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
So I would think so, but we'll see. I think, some things from last night may not be repeatable, like the shooting. But I think a lot of what we saw is repeatable. I think if we can keep the turnovers down and we have the ability to make plays towards the basket with those lobs and finding cutters, the offense was working last night on many levels. So we'll see. I hope they can repeat it.
Yeah, I hope. I think Deni turned a corner a little bit here. You mentioned him. He was a lot quicker. He was hitting a shot. Obviously, his 3-ball was falling, which will help the rest of his game. But he can get to the rim a lot. I think I used the term crafty. He's very crafty in how he moves to the rim and uses his body. And all of a sudden, he's at the hoop because he's not the quickest guy out there, but he knows how to. It's almost like, and again, not trying to be blasphemous, but how Luka, he kind of uses his butt to kind of. Luka Doncic can gain distance from his defender, almost like just using his body a certain way, because Luka is not super athletic either, and he always can get his shot off or find his way to the rim. I think Deni has a little bit of that in him, where he just knows how to move his body in a way that gets himself to the rim, or gets himself open, or requires a double team and then can throw out to an open shooter. He needs to be this version at night in and night out, or at least when the Blazers are ready to start really winning games. This is the Deni that we traded Brogdon for, basically. So
and I think you mentioned it on the last pod. You surprised me with his height and his length. I had forgotten that he's 6'9", and
Yeah.
Because he's so fast, right? Like when he has the ball in his hands, he can move like a guard. Like it's pretty amazing to watch, and getting him out in more runs, creating turnovers where he can run on the fast break. It's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to slow down a little bit at times. Like there's times where he kind of charges in and turns it over or takes a bad shot. But I think if he learns to pick and choose those moments, it's just fun to watch him drive for sure.
It is, man, for sure. And I just think that length, like there was a play, it's kind of getting towards the end of the game, so Edwards, I wouldn't say he stopped caring, but because they were definitely trying, right? The point differential, which I think I want to talk about in a second, it matters in these cup games. But Edwards had like a drive to the hoop. He couldn't get there. So then he chose to kind of fade away, and Deni just blocked it. Like it wasn't even close.
At the end of the game,
towards the end of the game. It's just that stuff right there that I'm just like, man, our length, right? We're the tallest team in the league, blah, blah, blah. They talk about it. But it's like when the middle can get clogged up like that, when you have Klingon and Rob kind of going, together. So the whole entire game, you have all this length and defense down in the middle. And then your perimeter has that kind of length at every position. I don't know, man. This Blazers team, Aaron, maybe the calling card is going to be defense. Right? like if I was a glass half full guy, right? Silver lining, Chauncey being a defensive, like grinded out point guard, he builds this unit into a defensive juggernaut. And that's what the Blazers calling card becomes. And Chauncey does an extension for 5 more years and we win 3 titles. Like maybe that's it. Maybe it's defense, not offense. We've been thinking of this all wrong.
I do love it. I think the pieces are there with the length, right? So can we get it to come together?
Yeah,
we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what happens going forward.
We'll see. Can I say one more stat line that I'd like to mention that I think was very, I read off the Rob Williams stat line, or I had it in the article, but it was like 19 points, 9 for 10 from the field, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, like just an awesome stat line, for playing 24 minutes, right? There's another stat line that I'd like to talk to you about. Ready? This player, you got to tell me who this player is. This player logged 32 minutes, went 9 for 19, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 26 points, and threw in 2 blocks. Who do you think this was?
Is that Jeremy?
Cooper Flagg for Duke. And I just know I love the game against Kentucky. I'm so glad we won. I want to win the NBA Cup, just like we said in our last podcast. But Aaron, Cooper Flagg looks really good. So we just can't, I'm just saying. Let's not
lose sight of the goal here. Yeah. Let's mess up the minutes. Let's get everyone down 20 minutes apiece. Let's bring in some more. Yeah. All right. You're right. Look,
back.
We're going to do this just like you predicted, for the NBA Cup. We're going to tighten the rotation for the cup, win the cup, lose the rest.
That I'm serious.
I know. Why not?
That would be my highlight of this season, beyond just a miraculous run to the title, would be win the cup, get the first pick. Like if you could tell me that, Aaron, I have no words. No words could describe how happy I would be. So let's get the next cup game. How about we do this? How about after every cup game, we do a reaction pod? You come back on and we do this.
Yeah, that sounds fun, because hopefully that means they're invested in it and they play hard, and at least win or lose, we have a team that's played hard. So
100%. And then maybe the players, like once they win, they're like, and then tonight we can't wait, or tomorrow we'll hear the Aaron and the doctor or Corey and the doctor's reaction to our game. Maybe we'll get mentioned.
I gotta say, I did love the floor. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I didn't like last year's cup games. The floors were kind of weird to me. That was nice. That one's nice.
Yeah, with like the roses and stuff.
Yeah,
the dark colors. I thought that was cool. They nailed it.
That one is appealing. I liked it.
Legit. All right. Emergency podcast over. Dr. Aaron Brown, thanks for coming on and sharing the love of a great win against the Timberwolves for the Blazers to start 1-0 in the Emirates. NBA Cup? Do we get paid because we said Emirates? Do we get a sponsorship dollar?
Yeah, let's check. I think so.
Okay, we'll check. We'll have Mike check. Our producer Michael check. All right. Hey, and as always, it's a great day.
It's a great day to be a Blazer.
Yes, sir.
All right. You have a good one.
We are Rogue Media Sports.